How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Truman Bradley. And now, let me show you something interesting. Here is the amount of food consumed by the average adult in a 24-hour period. Now, this was one of the first attempts at streamlining food. It's the C ration, known to millions of GIs in World War II and Korea. And then, we have this. Will modern man ever be able to condense an entire day's supply of food into a pill no bigger than this? Scientists already achieved this with plant life. Stop-motion photography can help show us how small amounts of chemical solutions can make plant life grow faster. These scenes were filmed at regular intervals over a 5-day period. Notice the almost human motion of the tendrils as they reach into the air. It takes more than 3 weeks for a bean sprout to reach full size. Aided by different chemicals, this plant matured in less than a week. Of course, this was plant life. But what about human life? Is science ever going to be able to produce chemicals that will make a man feel better, live longer, and grow faster and taller than natural food? This is the theme of our story, a tale of fiction. It did not actually happen. But will it happen? It's a question worth thinking about. Our story had its start in the Arizona community of Santa Rosa, a sleepy little town whose last big day came with the Wells Fargo bank robbery of 1882.
Thank heavens it's you, Sheriff. I've been trying to get you every 10 minutes since 8 o'clock this morning.
Well, I'm here, Silas. I'm here. Now, what's raising your blood pressure?
Well, I'm going to have to ask you to help me. See, ever since I got that call...
The beginning, Silas.
Huh?
The beginning.
Oh, yes. Last night, I got a telephone call to go over to the Tyson place. You know, that's on the road to Prescott.
Yeah, I know the place.
Yeah. Well, now, they told me to go in through the gate, and the deceased would be in the garage. Well, I thought that was rather funny, but I did what they told me. There he was, dead.
Accidental?
Oh, no. Here's a death certificate. Well, it says on here, virus pneumonia. There it was, right alongside of him. The certificate, I mean. And money and instructions about burial. But no people.
Didn't you go in the house?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I tried, but nobody answered. It seemed as though the place was all boarded up.
Morning.
Well, good morning, Paul. How's our county health officer this morning?
A little confused, thanks. Silas, what was all that you were trying to tell me over the phone?
Old Silas here's found himself a stray corpse over at the Tyson place. But you would know where that is. Anyhow, he tells me everything was nice and neat. Death certificate, money, only no one around within shouting distance.
You bring him in?
Yeah. You don't think he got himself murdered, do you?
Well, no signs of violence on him. Nothing but hypodermic marks.
Narcotics, Doc?
More like penicillin, I'd say. What's that certificate say his name was?
Corey, John Corey, stranger.
Well, Mr. Corey kept himself in pretty good shape. Take a look.
Oh, thanks.
You know, we don't get much virus pneumonia in this part of the state. What else does that certificate say?
All the usual stuff, height, weight, deceased age, 52.
How old?
Says here 52.
And I'm 106. This fella's got the muscle tone of a 20-year-old. I'd give him 30, tops. Let me see that thing. Sworn to and certified by Dr. E.M. Hall. Who's Dr. E.M. Hall?
Did you ever hear him, Silas?
Nope, never did.
Meaning what, Sheriff?
I don't know. There ain't no law against a man dying as long as he does it honest like. But this here, well, I guess there's any number of ways Corey could have been done in.
Autopsy, tell us.
Yeah, but I'd rather not do that until we've got more grounds. Right now, I'd like to find out if we do or if we don't.
A little ride out in the desert. I mean, me. I'm kind of curious. Dr. Hall, I have to see you, sir. Can you hear me? I have to see you about John Corey's death. I said I have to see you.
Ain't you lost, Doc?
Hi, Joe. Trying to get in. What's the magic word?
Don't ask me. I've been bringing the mail out there 3 years, and I ain't got past the door yet. I brung you a package. I reckon you can hear me. Well, so long, Doc. Good luck.
So long, Joe. Dr. Hall? I'm Dr. Paul Novak, sir. I'm County Health Officer. Dr. Hall? Medical Association in Phoenix. There's no E.M. Hall practicing medicine in the state of Arizona.
I wouldn't be too sure. The old Tyson's place was sold about 3 years ago. Guess who?
Dr. E.M. Hall.
That's right. He bought it through a bank back east and paid cash. No one's seen or heard of him since he moved in, except the post office. Well, our shy friend's going to get a visit from me in the morning.
Yeah. Dr. Hall. Somehow that name's... told everything.
What have we got?
Medical directory. Let's see. Haynes, Hale, Haley, Hall. Yeah, it must be. Nobel Prize winner, 1936. Let's see. Professor Emeritus, Midlands University, M.D. Became the nation's leading researcher in the field of nutrient biology.
Big man.
They don't come any bigger. No wonder his name meant something. I used to use his textbooks in med school. Hall must be in his 70s by now. Biggest thing there is in nutrition.
Well, celebrity or not, Dr. Hall's going to have a few questions thrown at him tomorrow.
Sheriff, why not let me go out there in the morning? Now, look, I know you're all roused up about this Corey business, but Hall might talk to a doctor a little more easily.
I drew up this writ of admission while you were out there. Take it along.
Thanks.
And while you're there, try and find out why a Nobel Prize winner's living like a desert rat, will you?
I will. Believe me, I will. Professor Hall, this is Dr. Novak, sir. May I come in? Professor, I know who you are, and I have no wish to interfere with your way of life, but my job requires me to know more about the death of John Corey. So would you please let me come in? Look, I'm a health officer, not a peace officer, but I have a writ of admission from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff. So if you refuse to admit me, I have no other choice than to come back with the law. Which do you prefer?
Dr. Novak?
Professor Hall?
Doctor, I understand that you must be admitted. For your own safety, however, certain precautions are necessary. So I must insist that you follow my instructions to the letter. Agreed?
If they're reasonable, yes.
You'll find the door open, and inside to your right, there's a shower. Beside it, you'll see a basin. Doctor, I wish you to shower and scrub yourself as if preparing for an operation. You will find a laboratory gown and rubber gloves. Please use the ultraviolet equipment before you enter. Clear?
Clear.
Very well.
All right.
Morning, Doctor. I'm Professor Hall. Dr. Novak, and this gentleman is my assistant, Dr. Lee Suyen.
Doctor. Professor, there are some questions I have to ask you, sir.
Yes, you'd like to know the reasons for your sterilization. Well, come up, Doctor. See, we're using laboratory animals that are very susceptible. The slightest outside infection might set back our work for weeks at a time.
Yes, I see. Professor, did John Corey work for you here until he died?
3 years.
And the cause of death was virus pneumonia, is that right? You treated him? I mean, I know you're a physician, sir, but...
There isn't anything he or you or anybody else could have done.
Miss Jan Corey, Dr. Novak.
Corey?
He was my father.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I pledge you, Dr. Novak. John Corey received only the best of care.
How old was your father?
52.
52? I don't believe it.
His passport, driver's license. Well, go ahead, look at it.
Well, these are very convincing, but he didn't look over 30.
You'll have to accept that.
All right, sir. Tell the truth, I'm disposed to accept anything you say. But I'd still like to know what's going on around here.
Naturally. We're searching for a nutrient.
You mean a food?
An artificial food. One that is both cheap and foolproof.
Why artificial?
Simply because this Earth has gotten to the point where it cannot produce enough food to feed the people that live on it. This is going to be an overcrowded world, Doctor. Which means not enough to eat. Now think what an inexpensive synthetic like our nutrient would mean.
That's quite a dream, Professor.
More than a dream. We've synthesized with excellent results. For instance, look at him. Doesn't he look healthy? Feeding him only our nutrient, we've been able to mature him in only 6 short weeks.
That's wonderful.
Not yet. He looks healthy enough, but his lifespan is very short. It seems that a virus springs up whenever the nutrient is used. A virus which damages the nervous system beyond repair. Well, here, Dr. Lee can show you.
Here, the virus is in its middle stage. Spasms. The waltzing sickness, we call it. Complete paralysis follows.
You've been able to isolate this virus? Find out what makes it tick?
Yes. Virus 35. What we have to do now is to find a variation of our nutrient that'll resist the virus, work in safety.
And until you do, your nutrient is sort of a mixed blessing, huh?
I'm afraid so, Doctor.
What do you use for hope, Professor?
We have him right over here, Dr. Novak. Would you care to meet him? Using our latest formula, he has survived 3 times longer than any other animal.
Well, then the answer to your problem might be running around in this cage right now.
It might. It might not. At least you know why we're here, Doctor. What we're trying to do.
One more thing, Professor. You said your animals were susceptible, meaning that their resistance was lowered. Now, isn't it possible that 3 years in this hothouse lowered John Corey's resistance to the point where he was more susceptible than he should have been? Much more, I mean.
We're here by choice, Doctor. We take our chances quite willingly.
All right. Case closed. You know, you'd think that someone as important as this would have a name.
We call him Moses, that he might lead us from the wilderness.
A mouse named Moses? It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Not a mouse, a small rat. You know, it's funny. Those three are working on a great idea, but I keep feeling there's something strange about them. And Hall didn't look anywhere near as old as I expected.
There's something been puzzling me, too. I've been asking around town in all the shops trying to find out if anyone's ever dealt with these people. Well, they haven't.
What's that mean?
It means that no grocery store within 50 miles has ever sent your Professor Hall anything. Staples, meats, vegetables, nothing. How about those people? Don't they eat?
Eat? Maybe they don't. Doctor, Miss Corey, Professor.
Well, I hope you come to see us as a friend, Doctor.
May I speak to you alone, sir?
Certainly. Doctor?
Make this easy for me, Professor. I feel badly enough doubting you as it is.
I don't understand.
Well, yesterday I was thrilled by what you people are doing out here. That is, until I started thinking about all the things you neglected to tell me. Such as not buying any groceries, John Corey's amazing youthfulness. Corey didn't die of any virus pneumonia, did he? Corey died because he was testing your nutrients on himself. Am I right, sir?
Almost.
How could you let that happen? Why didn't you take him off this nutrient and put him on some food, real food?
Because once on the nutrient, you can never go back to what you call real food. We didn't know that at the beginning. We know it now. All of us.
And all three of you. You're all on this nutrient yourselves?
I did not think it would take you this long, Dr. Novak.
Now, wait a minute. If John Corey didn't survive, and if your lab animals can't survive,
Then what about us?
well, either you're lying or you're all in mortal danger. Which one?
You might as well tell you the truth, Doctor. We were all on the same solution when John Corey became ill. We changed to the solution that we were testing on Moses. Now, the very fact that the three of us are alive proves that we're finally on the right track.
But you're flying blind. You don't know what might happen next week or tomorrow or even this afternoon.
Does anyone?
But you're playing with life. Whether it's your own or somebody else's, it's wrong. It's wrong. You can't go on with it. I've got to stop you.
And what do you propose to do, Doctor?
Get you off this nutrient.
I only wish you could.
Now, Professor, I can't bring myself to believe that anybody's system could come to reject food.
If we showed you, Doctor, would you believe it then?
In an effort to convince Dr. Novak of the nutrient's effects, Professor Hall demonstrates the animal's reaction to food. The results are always the same, and an attempt at intravenous feeding brings almost immediate death.
"5 minutes. He didn't even last 5 minutes. How long would the average man hold out?
The human lifespan is appreciably longer. Perhaps a man would live a few hours, perhaps that much.
It takes getting used to.
That it does.
As the days pass, the search for a safe nutrient continues without let-up. And Dr. Novak, who has made the health of the hothouse people his own concern, becomes increasingly aware that the three are working against a deadly enemy, an enemy that can hardly be seen, yet can take a man's life as surely as a bullet.
You still here? You must be tired.
Aren't I always?
You know, you shouldn't be spending so much time here. I bet everybody in Santa Rosa thinks you've been kidnapped.
Sure. How's Moses?
Oh, he's fine. He's... Professor? Professor?
We were so sure this time. We were so very sure.
like dead. We're all going to die. What's the use in all this work and we're just
Blood test immediately.
Yes, Doctor. There's no doubt of it. She shows definite signs of the virus.
How long does that give us?
John Corey lasted 3 days.
3 days. Hello. Yes, operator, I did put a call into New York. Thank you. Hello, Professor Stevens? Paul Novak, sir. Oh, you did get my telegram. There's nothing you can suggest? But look, we haven't got a week. Girl needs something now. Yes, she's only got 2 days. Yes, all right, do that. All right, sir, thank you.
You say this was during the war?
Yes, sir. I just joined the Air Force that fall, and they sent me on Arctic duty.
What does that do with us?
Well, we stopped at an Eskimo settlement. Now, the Eskimos had never been exposed to influenza. They caught it, and it killed them. That is, all except one Eskimo.
Why this particular Eskimo?
Well, I performed an appendectomy on him the week we arrived. He was in pretty bad shape. When it came time for a transfusion, I found that the only man on board ship with his type of blood had had polio as a child. Now, don't you see, sir? Every disease forms antibodies.
You mean you feel that the blood of this polio victim saved his life?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't see... Oh, yes, I do. You feel that a transfusion of similar blood would save Jan and ourselves.
Why not? We've already established certain similarities between your virus and influenza. Isn't it worth a chance?
Yes, we could make a test on Moses. Where could we find the blood?
Uncle Sam. U.S. Public Health Service will send us as much as we need.
Well, then send... Oh, no. No time.
It's already been sent for, sir. It'll be here tonight.
Thank you, Doctor.
We keep looking at him like this, he's liable to get sick all over again.
It worked. That doesn't mean it'll work on a human being.
Well, what else is there to do but try?
We have no choice.
The transfusions were administered to the 3 scientists. Still unanswered was the big question. Would the polio antibodies affect them as they had affected Moses? A question that could only be answered hours later, after specimens of their own blood had been analyzed.
No sign of the virus. It's all right.
Then we found the road. This could be the first step.
Do you realize that I've tried everything that a lifetime of experience has taught me to do, and it wasn't enough? It needed a man who wanted to help. A man with a hunch.
Thank you for coming here and opening the windows.
As we said in the beginning, this was just a story. It hasn't happened. Yet. But I'll let you in on a secret. Little Moses is not really sick. You see, he belongs to a peculiar type of rodent, and they just love to run around in circles. But then, how many little fellas like this do you meet with a name like that? I'll be back in just a moment after a word from our sponsor. I hope you enjoyed our story. We'll be back with you a week from today with another exciting adventure from the world of fiction and science. Until then, this is your host, Truman Bradley, saying, see you next week.